Another thing I would love to see get incorporated with crypto is ChatGPT.
Right.
It's all the rage right now. It's
Yeah.
supposed to AI is taking over all our jobs, and I don't know, like how is that going to impact crypto?
And
Will
will AI
take over a lawyer's job?
take over a lawyer's job? So you want to read it out loud? Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to Team Spotlight. So today we have a very special episode because next to me we have the very talented, the very charming Daniel Loh. He is every Asian parent's dream child because he is Asia legal business listed as a top 40 under 40 lawyers. So yeah, what an introduction. So
Wow.
I think.
Okay, well, you just told everyone my age. Thanks for that. Hi, everyone. My name's Daniel. I am the Chief Legal Officer for Cake DeFi. So with Cake DeFi, I manage the legal risk and compliance function. Been here for a year, still loving it. A lot more gray hairs, but really enjoying it. So my background is I was an asset management lawyer. I did investment funds, M&A, that kind of work. So been in and out of asset management firms and law firms. So coming into crypto, I think this is my first crypto job and won't be my last. So yeah, very excited to be here.
So in this whole ALB listing, you're the only lawyer that dabbles into crypto, right?
Yeah, I think I'm the only in-house lawyer from a crypto company, Web3 company.
Right. So can you tell us, because crypto is so new, there is very little legislation. There's very little legislation around crypto, right? And can you tell us a little bit about your job and what makes being in the crypto space very different compared to a normal lawyer?
Yeah, so you're exactly right. I think with crypto, with any kind of industry, legislation is key. But because crypto is so new, laws may not have caught up with developments. So everyone calls crypto kind of FinTech 2.0. FinTech 1.0, when it came in with payments and whatnot, laws were not updated as well. So they caught up eventually, and now it's a fairly regulated industry. Same with kind of crypto, FinTech 2.0. I think that eventually laws are going to catch up. We're all going to be regulated entities. I think it's a good thing. But yeah, I think that's where the kind of industry is heading.
And you mentioned just now that this is your first crypto job, right? First job in the crypto space.
Yep.
So why choose Cake DeFi?
Yeah, well, I mean, Cake DeFi in one word is fun. I think it's fun because the culture here, I think it's one of the best I've ever seen.
Just to point out, right, it's only my second week on the job, and I was actually very surprised to see that Daniel is a lawyer, is the happiest lawyer I've ever seen in my life.
Wow, that's really saying something because most lawyers are depressed. So, but yeah, fun. Cake DeFi is very fun in terms of the culture, but also if you look at the website, look at the messaging, it makes it very approachable for retail customers. It overall seems like a very kind of engaging, simplified product, and that's what I really liked about Cake DeFi. And I generally like that about crypto as is because finances are pretty difficult.
Stale
and boring. It doesn't really engage Gen Z and whatnot, but crypto does. It tries to kind of empower Gen Z and kind of younger generations to get into finances. So I think that's all a good thing.
In the crypto space, everything is new, everything is moving so fast, right? So what are some upcoming trends and developments that you're most excited about?
Upcoming trends, I think as a lawyer, for me, it's definitely regulation. There are major regulations going on in the European Union in the form of MiCA, which is the new law that's supposed to unify all crypto legislation in the area. Singapore is also moving towards crypto regulation, a more robust regulation. So I think this area I'm looking at, across the world, you're looking at crypto bans on kind of transacting in it, but also marketing. So it's really interesting to see where each country lands, which are more crypto friendly and which are not. El Salvador is obviously a very crypto friendly country, hedged really heavily into Bitcoin. But is that going to be a success? How is their regulatory regime going to be? Right. So I think these are things that I'm keeping an eye on. It's really fun. Another thing I would love to see get incorporated with crypto is ChatGPT.
Right.
So all the rage right now, it's supposed to, AI is taking over all our jobs. And I don't know, like how is that going to impact crypto, right? Is that going to help with kind of crypto speculation? Is it going to help on the back end, front end? How? So very curious to see how that happens.
It'll be quite funny to see if ChatGPT thinks that it can take over
A lawyer's job.
Yeah. So
I would love to see that.
What's a good prompt you would think? Will AI
take over a lawyer's job?
take over a lawyer's job? So you want to read it out loud?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is a very political way of saying it. So AI has the potential to automate certain tasks that lawyers perform, such as document review, blah, blah, blah. However, it is unlikely that AI will completely replace lawyers, as they also perform tasks that require critical thinking, creativity, and the ability to understand and navigate complex legal systems. Thank you. So my job is secure.
Okay, so we're happy to see that you'll be staying with Cake for the next few years to come.
That's great. That's great. Maybe I don't need to hire anyone, though. I can just hire ChatGPT.
Okay, off to the next question. As you mentioned just now, crypto is such an unregulated space. It's a new space. So how is it different compared to a traditional lawyer's job? Are we being sued more often, or things like that?
Good question. How does being a crypto lawyer differentiate between regular lawyers?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I would say very little to none.
Because I would assume there's a lot of learning, because crypto moves so fast, and there's no laws in place yet, you see.
Yeah.
So it's up to you to do the gatekeeping in a way.
So two things. One, yes. So I think the one thing that I've learned as a crypto lawyer, or a lawyer in the crypto space, is staying up to date with news all the time. When I was in kind of banking, asset management, I didn't have to read the news. I didn't read about Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan doing this and that. Here, FTX this and Celsius that. Everything has an impact or a trickle-down effect into crypto, whether you're an NFT or DeFi and whatnot. So I think staying up to date is tiring, but this is something that kind of crypto lawyers understand is kind of part and parcel of your role. But why I say that's not really that different is because if you think about it, say DeFi company, crypto company, you are a tech company at the end of the day. So any tech company like Google, Amazon, you need to look at IP, you need to look at litigation, corporate, commercial deals, procurement, whatnot. So these are things that you see in regular companies anyways. So almost, I don't want to put crypto companies on a pedestal. They're not that different. You're just a tech company or a fintech company at the end of the day. So yeah, that pros and cons kind of thing.
So on that note, can you share some funny or interesting, or I guess out of the box kind of cases that you see only in the crypto industry?
Yeah, I can. There's a lot that's happened the past year, as you know. One thing for a Singapore company is that earlier in 2022, the MAS, which is the Singapore regulator, basically slapped a ban on crypto advertising. Right. So that means no crypto advertising to retail public. And that came as a shock because there was no notice given, and all participants, like industry participants, were told on the same day. It was hard because obviously we're based in Singapore. We were planning a lot of in-person seminars, a lot of promos going on, vouchers and whatnot. So we had to put a halt on everything. So that was interesting because everyone's just scrambling. Marketing team was scrambling, trying to figure out what to do. Even to this day, the ban stays. So we're trying to pivot into kind of more global initiatives. But yeah, I think that's, if you ask any Singapore crypto company, that's one thing that they will always flag.
So, being in Singapore, regulations against things like crypto, they want to put all these regulations in place, but it's kind of like the opposite of crypto, right? Like crypto wants to be as deregulated as possible. So as a lawyer yourself, are you pro-regulation?
I'm pro-business certainty. So however an industry regulates itself by way of maybe kind of just mutual agreement between participants or by laws, whatever gives that industry certainty that it can operate more efficiently, I am okay for. In this space, obviously with FTX fallout and whatnot, governments are coming into place, putting into regulations and laws, which I think is completely reasonable because the industry cannot govern itself at this point. Moving forward, maybe we mobilize to the point where we can actually govern ourselves. We become decentralized enough that we don't rely on outside third parties like the government to implement these rules and laws for us to kind of abide by. So hopefully that's kind of the end goal, Web3 decentralization. We govern ourselves. But in the meantime, I think regulation is a necessity.
Right. This is very off tangent, but in Singapore, there's a lot of regulations in place. In a way, it makes your job more difficult, right?
Singaporeans and Singapore in general loves rules and
Correct.
laws, so I realize that, yeah.
Yeah. So in a way, it makes your job more difficult, right? So why did you choose to come to Singapore? Because you're not from Singapore originally, right?
No, I'm originally from Toronto, from
Right.
Canada. You can't tell from the accent.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, Canada has laws as well, but Singapore even more stringent.
Right. Correct.
Yeah. I think it's because Singapore laws actually make sense. And Singaporean parliament moves very quickly. Do you remember when they had electric scooters?
Yes, correct.
And
And
then-
within 6 months, 1 year, they took them all out because
scrapped.
they were such a nuisance to society, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So similar to kind of say crypto, right? They moved very quickly into crypto when it first came out. They
Right.
legislated. We have the PSA, Payment Services Act, and we're having an amendment at end of the year where some countries have not even considered crypto regulation yet. So I like the space because we move fast and we do it well.
Right. So moving off to something a little bit more light. So what are some significant milestones or accomplishments that you've had in the crypto industry so far?
Surviving.
Right. Yeah.
Survival. 2022 is summed up by survival, I think, for a lot of people as well. I think the achievement is, I think, really growing the team, the legal risk and compliance team. When I joined, I was the sole GC. Kind of fast forward 7-8 months, we have a whole team, 11 people within legal risk and compliance. We built amazing kind of internal frameworks to kind of make sure we're risk mitigated. Compliance-wise, we're moving to new countries, looking at licensing and whatnot. So this is a huge step for a crypto company. And for us, as a kind of like second line advisory, we've scaled up quite quickly. And I think we've done a really great job. So kudos to my team. But yeah, I think survival and doing all this stuff has allowed us to survive this long.
Yeah, so you mentioned that you were kind of growing your team, right? You started with 1, now you guys have 11. So what are some tips or things to look out for when, let's say a young lawyer is wanting to branch into the crypto industry?
Yeah, I would say 2 things. One is to really dive into that rabbit hole to figure out whether crypto is for you, right? Don't be afraid to kind of explore and kind of find out more, because once you're in this industry, it's a 24-hour process. You have to keep updated with news, dive into new areas of law that you never done before. So this is all very daunting and full on. So if you're not ready for that, just be wary. Second thing is, I think, do not expect that coming to a crypto company, you will turn to a crypto degen. Like the traders and whatnot out there, you won't and you shouldn't. You're coming in as a lawyer, as a legal counsel, and your advice means a lot to the rest of the teams. So as much as you want to be on the same level with them, you have to keep a level head, have to provide accurate advice, reasonable commercial advice, but be that kind of trusted advisor, I guess, in the company.
All right. Actually, on that note, right, just now you mentioned that when you come into the company, you won't evolve into a degen.
Yeah.
Right. So on that note, right, like how important is crypto knowledge as a crypto lawyer? Like, do you have to be a crypto native for you to break into this industry?
No.
Right.
Absolutely not. I came into the space kind of not really understanding what the difference between hot and cold wallet was.
Right.
Obviously now I do. But I think it's more having an interest in the space, willing to learn and continuously learn for the next few years, especially as things develop. For me, it's kind of, I'm still learning when I talk to the product managers, the engineers, yourself, everyone that's in the space, and maybe crypto natives as well. So for me, it's always a learning curve. New products that come out, brand new. Right. So Cake has a bunch of new innovative products as well. No clue. So constantly wanting to learn.
Right. Thanks, Daniel. Actually, I'm still new in the space, so I didn't really know what this whole job entails. You gave a lot of very good advice to the people watching. So if you guys are interested in joining the team, feel free to apply. We are always looking for talented people over at cakedefi.com/jobs. Thank you so much for watching. You have any last words to say, Daniel? Last words? Any parting statements to say?
Cake DeFi.
Cake DeFi.
Awesome.
We'll see you in the next video.